Good evening from the Channel's newsroom here in London. Brexit talks between the UK government and the opposition have collapsed. The Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn says the cross-party negotiations were constructive, but they've been unable to bridge important policy gaps. He says his party will vote against the Prime Minister's deal when it returns to Parliament next month if it remains unchanged. Theresa May blamed the lack of progress on a Labour Party split over a second referendum.
There have been areas where we have been able to find common ground, but other issues have proved to be more difficult. And in particular, we haven't been able to overcome the fact that there isn't a common position in Labour about whether they want to deliver Brexit or hold a second referendum, which could reverse it. Now, so when we come to bring the legislation forward, we will think carefully about what we've had with these talks, the outcome of these talks. We'll also consider whether we have some votes to see if the ideas that have come through command a majority in the House of Commons.
The government has not moved its position fundamentally. There are fundamental disagreements. We want to have a customs arrangement with the European Union that protects jobs and trade, and we want to have a dynamic relationship on rights. We would not rule out a second referendum, but it wouldn't be a referendum on 2016 terms. It would be a referendum to prevent a no-deal catastrophic exit from the European Union.
A doctor has been arrested following an outbreak of HIV in Pakistan. Authorities are investigating whether Musafar Gangharo, who has AIDS, intentionally infected the patients. Around 500 people, more than 400 of them children, have tested positive for the virus in Larkana since the end of April. He's accused of reusing a contaminated syringe. He denies the charges against him. An investigation into a plane crash in Cuba last year has concluded pilot error was the most probable cause. Of the 113 people on board the Boeing 737, just one person survived. The plane dived into fields south of Havana shortly after taking off on a domestic flight and burst into flames last May. In the States, an F-16 fighter jet has crashed into a warehouse, but incredibly, there was no explosion and no one was killed. The pilot managed to safely eject from the aircraft, and a dozen people were taken to hospital after being hit by debris. The Air National Guard jet reported a hydraulic failure before the crash.
It just sounded like a pretty nasty boom. Yeah, debris everywhere inside our warehouse, sprinklers going off, doors opening, flying open. Yeah, pretty scary situation.
In a UK first, doctors have successfully repaired the spine of a baby while it was still inside the womb. The child was diagnosed with spina bifida after a routine 20-week pregnancy scan, and his mother, wanting the best for her child, decided to go ahead with the keyhole surgery to correct the defect.
I want to speak out about it and make sure that other mums know and other parents know there is a different way of actually having the surgery, and you know, it's less invasive, and all you have to do is look at him. It's just, you know, we didn't think we'd get this far, and it's it's just amazing.
This is not a cure for spina bifida, but we try to improve the life of babies with spina bifida.
Australians head to the polls this weekend. The two major parties are neck and neck. Up for re-election is the incumbent centre-right coalition government led by the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, the leader of the Liberal Party, and Labour's Bill Shorten, who in the last days of campaigning appeared to be just in front. Voting is compulsory in the country, and 16.5 million people are set to have their say. The architect behind the iconic Louvre pyramid in Paris has died at the age of 102. I.M. Pei won the Pritzker Architecture Prize in 1983 and was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1992. His style was described as modernist with cubist themes and was influenced by his love of Islamic architecture. And finally, a feline famous for her permanent scowl has used up her 9 lives. Grumpy Cat, whose real name was Tartar Sauce, went viral in 2012 after photos of her sour expression emerged online. Her image quickly spread as a meme, and at the age of 7, the Moggy leaves behind countless jokes about life's worst moments. Her family in Arizona says she helped millions of people smile around the world, even when times were tough. And that's your international news around the world in 5.
Thank you, Simon. Ayotunde Balogun has sports news.
Thank you so much, Gimba. UFC interim middleweight champion Israel Adesanya is determined to take down his next opponent, Robert Whitaker, and keep his belt. Adesanya earned the title in the Fight of the Year contender against Kevin Gastelum at the UFC 236 in Atlanta last month. All is now set for the African 11 versus Niger Legends game tagged the match tomorrow at the Agege Stadium in Lagos. The match is organized by African Stars Union with an objective to give a befitting farewell to the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode. Players like Alhaji Diouf, Kalilu Fadiga, Mamadou Sissoko, Stephen Appiah, Christian Karimbu, Diamonsi Kamara and Didier Zokora are already in Lagos for the game.
And the main news again, the People's Democratic Party and its presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar have filed a motion asking Justice Zainab Bulkuchua to recuse herself from hearing their petition against President Buhari's election. They cite Justice Bulkuchuwa's close family relationship with two prominent APC members as the grounds for their petition. And that's how it's been on the news at 10 tonight. On behalf of all of us here, have a splendid night rest and a great weekend ahead. I am Gimba Umar. Good night.